I'm Mike Martino. I'm interviewing Coach Potts on effective communication. Um, what roles does effective communication play on a successful basketball team?
I think obviously in a team sport, anything in regards to communication is going to be important, especially in the sport of basketball where you have multiple moving parts, you have 15 guys on a roster. So I think for me as a coach, the biggest thing is to connect with your guys on a level where there's trust and honesty, and they understand what's expected of them on a daily basis. We communicate in multiple ways. Some of it's verbal, some of it's watching film, some of it's having individual meetings or team meetings. Really just trying to get the guys to understand that everybody has the same status in the program, everybody's role is going to be different, and understanding what each guy's role might be and how that fits into the team dynamic. I'm very transparent with them, very upfront, and again, like I said, I think the honesty and the understanding of where people are coming from is really important to be effective from a coach to a player standpoint, and I think we do a good job in our program of that.
In what ways do you use effective communication within the team to communicate to the team and other coaches?
I think it's just a matter of, to not to simplify it too much, but get everybody on the same page, get everybody to understand that I have a way of communicating as the leader of the program. I'm going to be a guy that's going to coach you. I'm going to demand a lot of you through that process. That starts a little bit in the recruiting, but once we get into the team dynamic, it's giving my assistant coaches a voice, letting them communicate to the players as well, and entrusting them with what we want to accomplish on a daily basis. With the players, I think it's just building a foundation and them understanding that the door is always open to the office. We can communicate that way. We can talk about how they're playing, what they're doing well, what they're not doing well. Technology's really changed the game. So as much as we communicate verbally, and sometimes as a coach, you also communicate in ways, physically pointing things out or trying to move guys around. A lot of our communication these days is the film. As we joke, and Mike as a player, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. So we can watch a lot of film, and that communication sometimes is even more effective than I am because the player can see it, can digest it, and then be able to make the correction. And through a teaching session, as a coach, you can get onto that film and say, hey, you need to move here, or you need to be 2 steps to the left. So I think, again, it's just being transparent with them, getting them to understand what we're trying to accomplish. If they understand that, the communication becomes very easy.
Speaking of recruiting, what ways do you use effective communication when you go recruiting?
I think the biggest thing, being that it's a big decision, as a coach, I often say it's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. So you want to be completely transparent in the recruiting process. And I think a lot of times in college athletics, that's where things go wrong. There's promises made, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. We don't promise anything in our program. We're very transparent and honest. And I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. The one thing I tell every player and parent is if you don't want to be coached, this will be a terrible decision. Because we're going to coach you. We're going to demand a lot of you on the court, off the court, in the classroom, in the community. So really, I think you just try to lay out to the best of your ability what being a Moravian basketball player entails. Whether that be on the court, in the classroom, in the community. Try to paint a picture for them of what is going to be included in all that process. We're very thorough in that. We meet with them multiple times. We do some home visits, which are another way to create a relationship. Go out and watch people play, have dialogue with coaches and those kind of things. I try to check every box I can. We don't have the resources of the NFL. We can't do background checks like that. But we try to do that as much as possible. Get to know guidance counselors, teachers, those type of people so that we have a good feeling that the young men we bring into our program are going to fit into what we're trying to accomplish.
Within the communication you have with the team and coaches, what types of distraction or noise do you often feel get in the way with your communication?
I think probably the biggest thing that's changed in my 19 years of coaching is the outside noise, the social media, the things that go on there. When I first started coaching, Twitter, Instagram, Snap, none of that was around. So you pretty much coach your team, and they might talk to other people and hear things about you should be playing more and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't something that affected your coaching. Now there's a lot out there. So I think as young players, 18 to 22-year-old young men, there's a lot of noise. Sometimes it comes from home, sometimes it comes from a high school coach, sometimes it comes from just friends. But I think a lot of it is just on social media, I think that can eat away at what you're trying to accomplish. I think the one good thing in our program is our guys know that we're on social media and that we follow them, and they understand the importance of representing themselves the right way. And I think it's just an understanding of the most important thing is the team. And if the guys understand that, hey, it might not always work out for me, or I might not get everything I want out of certain situations, if we win or we have success as a team, it's going to be beneficial. So sometimes you try to quiet that noise as much as possible. Some coaches unplug, no social media allowed for anybody. I think it's just teaching your guys to be responsible on it and learn to communicate and use that to an effective way. And just understanding that the team dynamic is more important than anything that happens outside the locker room or the program.
Since effective communication seems to be a big part within the team, how important do you value the feedback from coaches or players?
Yeah, I think I was an assistant coach for 15 years before I became a head coach, so I know how those guys feel for sure. I don't run a program where it's my way or the highway, so the assistant coaches have a voice. They have an opinion. We are going to agree on a lot of things. We'll disagree on some things. When we leave the office, the most important thing is being on the same page there. So we can disagree in here and draw stuff up on the board or watch film and try to figure it out. Once we make a decision, we'll then exit the office with everybody on the same page. My players, I really truly believe that they know they have a voice. It's cliche, but I do believe I'm a player's coach. Those guys are going to have the opportunity to say, hey, we like this, we don't like this. What if we tried it this way? There is some trust that has to be built there. They have to, I think, kind of go through things in the program for their voice to get a little bit bigger at times. But I want them to have feedback. I don't make any baskets. I don't get any rebounds. They're the guys that are doing all the work. So I want their input on what they like and don't like. Some of the things I think that has really helped me grow as a coach is the feedback from players that, hey, practice was too long, or can we try to do this for a team meal, and those kind of things. You're just trying to make the experience the best it can be for those guys. So I think in order to be successful as a coach in a program, those guys have to have a valuable, input as to what's going on in the program.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.